that back, come I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause I'm not gonna have met your Ep.513 cruising. Feel like you winning on the
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. All the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, just go ahead. Hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And then shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but definitely go catch one of these football games, these concerts, something out there that's going to give you a good experience, and use that promo code. Save yourself some $20. So, all right. Anyway, look, so we got the Atlanta Falcons. Man, we got embarrassed. The Falcons. Simple as that. They lost to the 49ers in San Francisco, prime time. They lost 20-10. And man, I have a lot of bones to pick with this one because this was a very winnable game. Initially, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about this Falcons and 49ers game, is it was a very winnable game for either team. Obviously, 49ers, they did what they had to do. They got the defensive stops. They scored offensively. They kept the momentum. They ran the football very well. I want to give credit to the 49ers that they played a decent game to get them to win, but ultimately, this could have went either way. And I think the stinker that the Atlanta Falcons put out offensively really hindered their chances of possibly winning this game, especially down a stretch, along with the bad coaching, the mental errors on defense from the coaching staff, the errors on it was a lot of breakdowns. So let's just jump into that because there was some things that we have to discuss, including Michael Penix Jr. He was rough. And I usually always praise a lot of the good things the Falcons do. So I'll start with the small amount of things that they did well. I definitely want to give credit to the defense. They kind of kept us in the game all night. Say what you want about the Falcons defense they had these mistakes toward the end of the game. They gave up a 3-13, whatever. I get all of that. They also had 10 men on the field, which is a big issue with the coaching staff. A lot of that falls on the coaching staff of having 10 guys on the field in a crucial moment of the game. And also having 12 guys on the field in a crucial moment of the game. Both of those things kind of hindered the defense's chances of getting a stop, and that falls on the coaching staff. So I want to give the defense a little bit of leeway. Yes, they did make mistakes at times throughout the game, but ultimately they held a good offensive team in the San Francisco 49ers to only 20 points. And also they had one interception, one sack. So, they kept us in the game. It was really, truthfully, a 13-10 score until that final touchdown with Christian McCaffrey. But ultimately, this was not on the defense. They gave our offense plenty of times to strike, and we failed at that on the offensive side. So defense, you can get better. The Falcons' run defense is something that has to improve tremendously. We let Christian McCaffrey run for 129 on us, and they just really controlled the pace with the ground game. And that's what you do when you can run the football. And that's exactly why I was a little afraid coming into this 49ers game, because they don't have all the famous stats and the fancy stats to go along with it. But those boys have Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan on that sideline cooking up. So I had to take that into consideration at least. But above all, defense, I'm not too upset at that. I get it. There were some mistakes we got to clean up. Obviously, there was no Jalen Walker as well. And then we seen Diablo get hurt. So those things are painful to see happen in a game. And hopefully Divine Diablo can come back and play, because we're definitely going to need him, especially next week. And I'll save that for later on in the week, breaking that down, because I'm scared of that. Anyway, the offense, man, this is where we have to bring a lot of attention to this Falcons team. The Atlanta Falcons offense is the most inconsistent. I'm not going to say in the NFL, because there are other teams that's worse, but this is a very inconsistent offense, truth be told. And this offense stinks. It's very predictable. Out of 7 weeks of football, we had one good week where the offense actually showed some sort of potential and looked actually pretty good. And it pretty much fooled everybody who's a fan of the NFL that the Falcons might actually be good because of the 1 week the Falcons had out of 7 where the offense looked decent. It's a damn shame. The play call was rough. We had a 4th and 1. This is a play that just sticks out to me to a T. A 4th and 1, and for some reason, Bijan Robinson wasn't on the field. We were in the shotgun. We tried to pass it. I understand that, the offense has been predictable and you want to switch things up, but that was not the time to try and explore something that has not worked in the past. That was not the time. And if you were trying to be creative, if Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, was trying to be creative on that 4th and 1 with no Bijan Robinson on the field, that was not creative at all. That was a miserable fail right there. And it's not just all on Zach Robinson. He definitely has his fair share of things that went awful in this game from the offensive side. But truthfully, Michael Penix Jr. did not play well. I usually vouch for Michael Penix Jr. all the time. I mean, he showed a glimpse of times where he can throw the ball well. Obviously, it's not completely terrible with him. He's a second-year quarterback. He still has barely played 10 games in the NFL. So, yes, Michael Penix Jr. has a lot to learn, but he played awful in this game. I mean, honestly, this was a situation where Michael Penix Jr. did not play well, and he honestly looked like Kirk Cousins with a do-rag and black skin. And not the good Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins has his moments where he's looking really good, and it's not always a bad thing. But as of lately, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. look like the same exact player besides a do-rag and black skin. That's the only difference I see with these guys. Both struggle under pressure. Michael Penix Jr. sucked in this game under pressure. He didn't complete a single pass under pressure out of his 9 attempts when the 49ers got to him. So that has to change. We got to figure something out where he has some other options to get rid of the ball, where he can cause some adjustments from the offensive line. Something has to change in terms of Michael Penix Jr. seeing pressure and losing his mind, because right now that's what's been going on. It happened last week also against the Buffalo Bills. We kind of overlooked it because they ended up winning the game, but ultimately, since the 49ers lost, this is an aspect that's going to get picked at. He was bad under pressure. He's been bad under pressure, and this is something that has to change. Not many quarterbacks are good, and it's a reason it's called pressure. So I get that, but this was something that definitely has to change, and I was upset with Michael Penix Jr. I thought he missed a couple of different throws. I thought he panicked at times and got rid of the ball. I thought he tried to scramble when he could have either thrown it away or just dumped it off to some open options. And, man, I can't wait to actually look more in depth of this or with this film. I want to look more into this film because the things that I'm seeing and all the plays where there were targets, they just weren't hit. And one of the things here, too, and I got to pull it up, man, because this is a team with so many offensive weapons, but yet we didn't really use them in this game. We tried to get Bijan active, but the offensive line clearly wasn't working. They just weren't working out. And credit to the 49ers defense because they held it down. But ultimately, Bijan Robinson didn't do much. He rushed for 40 yards. Bijan had 40 yards. Not satisfied with Bijan Robinson having 40 yards. So we gave him the amount of carries that could have helped him out, 14. But ultimately, Drake London needed to get involved. I see Drake London with only 4 receptions, and in the film, I specifically seen Drake London open multiple times. So it's not like he was just getting locked up over there. There was plenty of times where Kyle Pitts had a mismatch throughout the game, and I thought we could have exploited the matchup issues with Kyle Pitts with smaller defenders guarding him, but yet we didn't really do that. So that falls on the play calling with the Atlanta Falcons, and also there was times Michael Penix Jr. did overlook our receivers and Kyle Pitts, Drake London, even Darnell Mooney on a couple deep shots. The ball wasn't always accurate, and sometimes it didn't even come out to go to a receiver. So, these are things that has to be cleaned up, and ultimately it starts with the 49ers pressure of just us not being able to adjust to that, whether it's the offensive line adjustments, whether it's the play calling adjustments. Something has to change. So with this Falcons team, this is an issue that's been going on all season. We played 7 weeks of football and saw 1 good week of football offensively, which is just a damn shame. It's ridiculous. So I'm looking at these. I'm looking at the coaching staff sideways. Michael Penix Jr., yes, I'm looking at him sideways, but young quarterback, so it's only right to give him leeway. And I know the first thing people say is about
okay, well, yeah, Michael Penix Jr., yeah, he a young quarterback, but you got all these other guys, they're playing good. Slow your roll, because there's a lot of guys who are still struggling. I mean, look at Jackson Dart struggling, and a lot of rookie quarterbacks too still struggle. They might have a good game or two, but they struggle. And we've seen guys with terrible coordinators struggle early on and then thrive all of a sudden. Just look at Baker Mayfield in our division. He's been cooking up, but he had a horrible start to the NFL. So I'm not saying he's going to be Michael Penix or Michael Penix Jr. is going to have that same journey, but I'm just saying that sometimes it does take a second to get the right matchup with quarterback and coordinator in order for things to work for that quarterback and the offense. So just keep that in mind before you start trashing Michael Penix Jr. about what throws he missed and the lack of adjustments from the play calls and audibles and the offensive line adjustments. Just keep that in mind before you go too hard on Michael Penix Jr. He's technically a second-year quarterback, but he's barely played 10 games. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I think that's extremely important. And, coaching staff, last thing, this coaching staff, a lot of errors for this coaching staff. Clock management before half. I've told you guys plenty of times, man. I don't know how many times I got to say this. Raheem Morris, his specialty is not clock management at all. Struggles bad. He struggles a lot with clock management. The whole thing before halftime was just a mess. I think we had like 45 seconds and a couple of timeouts. The play call was nasty, of course, and we couldn't get the ball downfield, didn't utilize the timeouts. It was nasty, man. We got to do a way better job. But I also think that's something that's going to come with the consistency of the offense. It's hard to manage the clock correctly when the offense isn't consistent and you can barely move the ball. So, yes, Raheem Morris does struggle with clock management at times, but also you got to give him a benefit of the doubt because the offense can't move the ball. So how do you expect him to make something happen in 35 seconds when we can't get the ball above 10 yards and get a first down to be able to even use a timeout or anything like that? So this is something to consider. I think it's one of those things that hopefully will develop. The 10 men on the field thing, coaching error for sure. 3rd and 13, that was not supposed to go the way it went. Obviously, there was a blown coverage, but there should have been another man on the field, so that could have changed things tremendously. 12 men on the field. The following series was ridiculous. Coaching error. Like, it's ridiculous. And, there's things, I get it. It's hard to truly have faith in this team when I see the lack of consistency from this offense. It's hard to have faith in this team when I see the inconsistencies. Like Raheem Morris, he struggles. Yes, he does. But ultimately, I'm not completely out on Raheem Morris because he has given Atlanta something that we have never had, which is a solid defense. And it's somewhat of a culture on the defensive end over there. And yes, the offense is just awful right now, but I think everything will go according to plan whenever we do finally get through the growing pains and get the offense going. And the offense probably won't get going until Zach Robinson is gone. So I'm not completely out on Raheem Morris. I know a lot of people, people just go back and forth every week. Every week. As soon as we win, Raheem Morris, I guess he's all right. As soon as the Falcons lose, Raheem Morris, he has to go. Like, I get it. He's building a culture, and there's going to be growing pains. Just think of it on the bright side. We've never had a good defense, and the defense has been standing tall, keeping us in games, even winning us some of these games early on in the season. So, yes, the offense stinks, but Raheem Morris is not calling the offense. He's never called offense in the NFL, and until we finally get a new coordinator on the offensive side, then maybe we'll see the full potential of the Atlanta Falcons team and ultimately the full developed culture of what this team can be. But it'd be different if the offense was hitting on all cylinders and he's still messing up timeouts. But you can't really mess up timeouts if your team can't get a first down to even manage the clock well. Of course, the clock management is going to stink. So there's a lot of different issues. Yes, I know it looks bad at times. The offense looks bad. He's the head coach. He should do something about it. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. But he can't do much if he's not calling those plays on offense outside of fire Zach Robinson and go pick up Mike McDaniel, which is what I hope happens once they finally fire him in Miami. But, I think Zach Robinson has to go for sure. He's got to get out of there. 1 week out of 7 weeks of good football offensively is just not it. That's terrible. So other than that, man, look, those are the Falcons. They stunk it up.
And next week is also going to just be a battle, but we'll talk about that later on in the week. I don't even want to put that kind of stress on myself right now, nor anyone who's listening, especially if you're a Falcons fan, whatever the case is. I don't even want to dare put that type of stress of thinking about the team we got it. I don't want to say the team, none of that. The team we got it. Oh, no. I was overlooking it. But the team we play next week, I still don't want to think about it. So we'll figure it out. Anyway, look, I got some news coming up, so don't go anywhere. We have some sports news, obviously. World Series stuff is happening. And then NFL matchups, man. Week 7 has been crazy so far. Obviously, a couple teams still playing, but let's break through some of these games that happened in Week 7, and we'll be right back. It's halftime. This Buccaneers and Lions game pretty good right now. The score doesn't, I got it playing right now, but the score doesn't reflect it. This is 9-20, but it's actually a pretty good game. Lions charged up to not have a full starting secondary right now. That's crazy. They're looking at that controversial first down from the Bucs. It's the start of the fourth, pretty much, and the Bucs just got turnover downs. I can actually show it here. Well, actually, they done reviewing it now, but it was pretty crazy. Mariners, man, it's so many games. It's crazy. I'm gonna just jump into the news. Let's just do that. Start there. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Leave us a quick take on our voicemail line if you want to talk in the conversation, 219-413-9405. And, of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. So, anyway, let's start with the news for The Run. In the MLB, obviously, as a lot of you guys know, man, the playoffs is here, and we are about to get a World Series that involves the Dodgers. I don't want the Dodgers in there, but looks like we can't avoid the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're about to go on and ruin baseball, as people have been saying. But anyway, the Dodgers beat the Brewers. They swept the Brewers, not just beat them, but they swept the Brewers 4-0 to advance to the World Series. And as of right now, it's pretty close. Game 7 for the Mariners and Blue Jays is happening right now. Mariners are currently winning, as I'm recording this, 3-1 over the Blue Jays. And this is game 7, so winner goes to the World Series. Personally, I want the Blue Jays to go to the World Series, and I want them to win the World Series. But, oh, man, it's a close game. Top of the 5th right now. Mariners are up 3-1, so anything can happen. But this is the game that's going to decide the World Series and who will go on to play the Los Angeles Dodgers. So definitely going to be interesting. And also, you got a lot of different sports going on, and it's only going to get crazier because as of probably today when you listen to this, if you listen to the first day, but as of right now, NBA is started. The basketball season is going. The NBA season has officially started. Houston Rockets will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And the Golden State Warriors will play the Los Angeles Lakers in the season openers. Now, there are going to be a couple of different stars missing. LeBron will not be playing. He has a sciatic issue, I think it was, but he has an issue, a health issue, where he's not going to be playing first couple of games. And then Thunder Rockets should have everyone fully healthy. So anticipating these matchups, man, and these are going to be good. But basketball season is rolling, so we're here. We're here in the NBA. Anyway, let's move back to the NFL because week 7 of the NFL is a little crazy. Couple of crazy wins as of right now. To backtrack all the way from Sunday to Thursday. I know usually I do it in reverse, but we'll start from Sunday to Thursday, most recent. Currently, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Lions. Lions are in full control of this game, 21-9, and the score doesn't reflect how close of a game this is, but it's a pretty close game right now. Like it's back and forth, and yeah, Lions are winning by double digits, but it's just close. It's an intense game so far. So you wouldn't, if you just tuned in, you wouldn't think the score was what it was. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I think the Lions probably got it from here. Fourth quarter, as I'm recording this and speaking right now, 11 minutes left in the fourth. Lions got the ball, so if they score here, it might ice it. If they don't, Bucks continue to fight on and maybe have another chance, but Bucks offense has been struggling. Mike Evans went down at one point, so it's been rough. However, you got the Texans and the Seahawks playing next, and I can't tell you who's the winner of that game because it hasn't come on yet, but I personally think the Texans will end up winning this game on the road. But don't count the Seattle Seahawks out because Sam Darnold has been dialing up. He's been balling. Anyway, let's backtrack all the way to some of these games. Falcons 49ers. That was the primetime game for Sunday, and the 49ers won that game 20-10. You got to go listen to the breakdown of the first half when I talked about the Falcons and how they stunk it up and what they did wrong, what they needed to do better, coaching errors, all of these different things. Definitely go check those out. But 49ers ended up winning that game and protecting home field. Now they advanced to 5-2. Falcons are back at 500 at 3-3. The Rams and the Jaguars played each other, and this was kind of a beatdown. The Rams did whatever they wanted to over the Jaguars, and they advanced to 5-2. They won that game 35-7. The Saints and Bears was a good matchup at one point, but the Bears ended up having full control. They protected home field. They won 26-14, and it was a pretty decent game, actually. There was some things that we saw from Caleb Williams. He did his thing, had a couple touchdown passes. DeAndre Swift, he had a great rushing day, rushed for 124 yards, had one touchdown. But above all, Saints didn't just lay down and get beat. They did step up, and they tried to fight back, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. It just wasn't enough. So they ended up winning that game. The Bears did. Then you had the Browns. The Browns, hey, they showed up. Offensively, they finally showed up, and they made something happen to help out the defense that's elite. So Dylan Gabriel, he had 116 yards, completed 13 of 18 passes. And also Jukins, he had 3 touchdowns, 84 receiving yards, and he did his thing. Brown ended up winning 31-6. It was a beatdown, and Tua Tagovailoa, Dolphins quarterback, got benched, which is crazy. But Tua got benched. That just tells you how bad he was playing at one point in this game. The Dolphins decided they needed to go in a different direction and give the rookie Quinn Ewers a start. And when he started, it was kind of already too late for him to make something happen, but he did he threw 8 passes and completed 5 of them. So Quinn Ewers from Texas, rookie, made his debut, and maybe he continues to be the starter, maybe not. It'll be interesting to see what this Dolphins team does, but ultimately everybody's been just waiting on Mike McDaniel to get fired since he's been in a hot seat, and it's just pretty obvious at this point. Dolphins are 1-6. Nothing promising is looking like it's coming from the Dolphins locker room, from the coaching staff. I think a lot of teams are just anticipating McDaniel to get fired and where he'll go to help out what team on the offensive side, because it's clear that he can cook up an offense, but it's just not clear that he can lead a full football team, defense, offense, and be able to call plays and just keep track of all those guys. So we'll see what happens there with the Dolphins, but Mike McDaniel, man, it's time, bro. We ready for you to come to Atlanta and call our plays and utilize this offense and just help us thrive. So I'm gonna put it at that. Other than that, the Patriots, they won again. The New England Patriots, they've been killing it, man. They've been on a roll right now. You had Drake May. He did his thing out there. He ended up helping the Patriots offense score 31 points. And, man, Titans had another rough day. 13 points. Cam Ward threw for 255, which is a lot of yards, but damn, only resulted in 13 points. It was a lot of things that wasn't really Cam Ward's fault. And, you know, there's a lot of issues with this Titans team that I think they will fix at some point. But above all, everything you see, how bad the Titans have been, even some of the highlights that you see of Cam Ward getting sacked or throwing an interception, not all of these are on Cam Ward from when I'm watching these games. I actually checked out and sat and watched the Patriots and Titans game, and not everything is on Cam Ward. Like, yes, he's having some rough times, but his receivers are also dropping passes. His O-line is not giving him time to even throw the ball. They're missing key blocks, just letting guys run through. Like, some of these things look awful for Cam Ward. So I definitely feel for his situation. And obviously, as you know, they fired their head coach just a couple weeks back. I think it was actually last week. So rough situation over there in Tennessee with the Titans, with Cam Ward and those guys they have, man. So hopefully they can get it together and just show some sort of promise with that Titans team. And then we also have more. So the Chiefs, they beat the Raiders. Man, they smacked the Raiders, beat them 31-0. So that just tells you how that game went. Eagles, they played the Vikings, and I thought this was a crazy game here between the Eagles and the Vikings. I actually loved it. The Eagles, they won this game 28-22, and it was tremendous. I have nothing bad to say about the Eagles offense. They finally got A.J. Brown involved. A.J. Brown, he had himself a game. Jalen Hurts, found A.J. Brown multiple times. Jalen Hurts had 3 TDs. He threw for 326 yards, which is crazy, and only had 4 incompletions in this game against the Vikings. So Hurts, this is what people talk about when they say, how do you want him to deliver? How do you want Jalen Hurts to prove to you that he's a top 5 quarterback? Do you want him to run the ball and score and do whatever he needs to do to help this offense? Clearly, if he needs to throw the ball, he can get his receivers the ball in time, accurately, and whenever the play whenever the play causes for him to get his team the ball. Like, Jalen Hurts, it's games like this why people argue that Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. So give him his props. Ultimately, there was something that happened in his Vikings game, though. It was pretty crazy. Justin Jefferson could have been potentially a game-changing touchdown. It would have been definitely game-changing, but possibly a touchdown that would have helped the Vikings win the game. And it was broken up by Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean, he did deflected, and he played great defense on that play, but that's a catch that Justin Jefferson has to bring in for sure. So, oh man, it was a great game. I thought that was a great matchup between the Vikings and Eagles. Jalen Hurts definitely did his thing and balled out. Was happy to see him, happy to see A.J. Brown get involved. And ultimately, the only thing I'm waiting for with this Eagles offense is for Saquon Barkley to get active. We finally seen A.J. Brown get his touches. Devontae Smith get his touches receiving the ball. Jalen Hurts finally flinging it and making things happen, controlling the offense. We love to see those type of things, but the last element to this Eagles offense that needs to be activated is Saquon Barkley. Once he's activated, then we will see the Eagles as a true threat come postseason and through the regular season. Now, their record shows they are a threat right now, 5-2, of course, but if Saquon gets activated and they can continue to keep the ball rolling in the air and on the ground, then the Eagles will become just as dynamic as they were last year and will become a scary team and ultimately a Super Bowl contender. So I can never count them out because they do win games, but that was a great game. Eagles, Vikings, love to see that one. Panthers and Jets was also kind of a good game, low scoring game, 13-6, but the Panthers ended up winning. Jets, oh, dog. Week after week, we can never see the New York Jets win. 0-7? Next team. I have nothing to say about the New York Jets, man. 0-7 is just crazy. Justin Fields also got benched in that game too, so 0-7 is crazy. 0-7 is crazy.
Anyway, Broncos and Giants. Broncos Giants was another great game that I enjoyed watching. I got to actually sit down and watch the full game and not just flick through the channels. I had this playing along with the Eagles. I think they came, I can't remember. It was, I think they offset each other just a little bit, but I got multiple devices. So sometimes I get busy during NFL Sunday, and this was one of those weekends. I was busy watching these games. Broncos Giants was insane. Broncos won 33-32. And the Giants pretty much got up and thought they were Superman. They had a 19-zip lead, and they just thought they was sweet once they finally got up. But ultimately, they did not make anything happen and forgot that they got to close out the game. So this was such a wild game. Between the two, statistically, it was pretty good. Jackson Dart had 283 passing yards. He had 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. And then Bo Nix also stood tall, too, had 279 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. And, man, clutch moments of the game from Bo Nix. Man, these were some crazy moments. But ultimately, it was a rally from the Denver Broncos. Broncos, they scored literally 33 points all in the fourth quarter. 33 points only in the fourth quarter. And for the Giants, they should have been a damn shame of themselves. Yeah, I know it was cool last week. Y'all had the fun win and everybody was geeked. It was like, we got Dart, we got Hammerhead, Scatterboo just running through everybody. Like, I get the fun and the hype about it, but damn it, the young fellas got to close the game. You were up. It's no reason, it's no excuse that they should have lost this game. And this was a welcome to the real world, welcome to the NFL moment here of you have to play through all 4 quarters because you gave up 33 points. And also the defense for the New York Giants. You are not excused because how the hell do you give up 33 points all in 1 quarter? It's a damn shame. So that was an insane game here for the Broncos. And one of the things I'll leave it off here with the Broncos is I truly think the Broncos can win their division. Yes, I know Kansas City Chiefs is in this division. The Chargers is in this division. But ultimately, the Broncos have what it takes, man. They got what it takes. This is a solid football team. They're 5-2 right now. And they beat some division opponents. So you got to give them their credit. They already beat, I think they, don't quote me on that. Don't even quote me on that. I was about to say they beat the Chiefs, but no, they haven't played the Chiefs. I'm thinking of the Chargers. The Chargers have swept through the division so far. So this is another, that division is tough, man. That division is definitely tough. But ultimately, Giants, Broncos was definitely a solid game. That was a fun watch, man. It was a crazy, because I thought it was over. And I'm just like having it on, not really paying attention. All of a sudden, touchdown. Okay, they might be back in it again. They score again. So it was a wild game. Anyway, let's keep moving down. The Colts and the Chargers was also a pretty good game. Colts are extremely talented. The Indianapolis Colts are serious threats to win a Super Bowl. I know people don't want to believe it. I know people think it's just hype. I know it probably sounds like I'm just hyping the Colts up for no reason, but no, seriously, the Indianapolis Colts are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. If you haven't watched the Colts right now, so far through week 7, please tune into any Colts game. Just watch good football. If your team sucks, watch the Colts. They will give you good football. This team is elite. They're first in points per game right now, and they've been dominating on all cylinders. Not only is Daniel Jones playing good, but JT is amazing on the ground, and also Pittman is great receiving. They spread the love offensively, and this is a great team. Colts will be able to bang with anybody come playoffs, and I seriously will say it right now. Colts are Super Bowl contenders, and it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Colts are elite. There it is. All right, Cowboys, they played the Commanders. They beat up on the Commanders 44-22. Unfortunately, we've seen Jaden Daniels go down again, so that's rough for the Cowboys. But Dak Prescott, he had a ball, man. Dak Prescott had a field day in this matchup here with the Commanders because CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens
with Dak Prescott throwing the ball is amazing. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't ever like to see the Cowboys succeed. You see what team I'm rocking with. But just me as a football fan, you have to love watching CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens catch these passes from Dak Prescott, man. It is crazy the type of offense they can construct with these two receiving options that they have. And then also Javonte Williams have been great on the floor as well on the ground game. So Cowboys offense is really nice. And I think this is what's going to help them possibly even get to the playoffs. Granted, everyone stays healthy and continues to do what they do. But, oh my gosh, I don't see a single defense out here that's going to be able to stop George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb when they're healthy. I'm going to just leave it at that. Cowboys offense might be a little scary, man. Cowboys offense, I know the joke's always on the Cowboys and are you still them boys? But boy, this team look good sometimes. I'm gonna just leave it at that. All right, other than that, Packers and Cardinals, it was kind of a boring game, but it stepped up toward the end. Packers ended up winning this game 27-23. I will say, with the Packers, yeah, they are winning games. They're 4-1-1 because they had the tie, but I'm kind of losing some hype around the Packers, man. That offense is not really looking good. It's very stagnant, and the defense is happening to save them a lot through the course of these games. So, yeah, I know they got Micah Parsons there, and on top of everything else they have, and the offense is supposed to be this and supposed to be that, but they haven't really showed me that they're super elite on the offensive end. So I still got an eyebrow raised for the Green Bay Packers, and I don't think they're top dogs in this division. I will say, I think Vikings can probably get them, and hell, even the Bears could probably get the Packers from the way that the Bears been playing so far up to week 7. So it'll be interesting to see what the Packers actually go on to do. But again, 4-1-1 because of the tie. So who knows? They're winning games, and that's all that truly matters. But I just don't know if the way they're winning these games are sustainable, especially when you're in such an elite division like the NFC North. So we'll see what's up with the Packers, but I'm kind of losing some stock on the Packers for sure. Other than that, you had the Thursday night game, which was Bengals-Steelers. Bengals-Steelers was crazy. They called it the Unk Bowl with Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. Both of these guys were elite, man. I was happy to see it. Joe Flacco he got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins the ball. You love to see that. That was great to see. And then Aaron Rodgers also balled out, had a couple touchdown passes too. So great game. Above all, the Bengals ended up winning 33-31. So it was a great week for Sunday night football, and Monday night football is still happening. Texans and Seahawks. I'm going to finish up watching this Buccaneers game, but if you have listened from start to finish, as of right now, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Lions are up 24-9. And yeah, it's probably safe to say the Lions are going to clinch this one up just from the way everything has been going down and the way that they've been playing. So we'll see. But we'll be back later on in the week, and I'm going to give y'all a positive note here. And a positive note is just going to be have grace for others. Have grace for others, man. Just, have grace to others as you would want them to have grace for yourself, regardless of the situation. You never know what somebody's going through, just like you might be going through things and you might not show it. That same thing might be happening to other people. So just have grace to others. And that's a positive note. That's all I got. So other than that, man, I appreciate you for tuning in. We will be back later on this week. Follow us on Instagram at The Run Podcast. Look at some of the clips. YouTube at The Run Pod. Or nope. YouTube is The Run with Manny Wilson. And then TikTok is at The Run Podcast as well. Facebook at The Run Podcast. Search us up, and then we'll be there on all platforms. But until then, we'll be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.